You played against that team, obviously, all year long in the Eastern Conference. I think there were a lot of people, myself included, who said all year long, they're better without Kyrie. They look better. They move the ball better. They just look like a better team. What do you make of the way they went out last night, and Kyrie in particular?
Disappointing. So much talent. Obviously, a good coaching staff. They just never had that chemistry. Marcus Morris said early in the season, he kind of had the red flags. They're more of a ball movement system. Kyrie's a good player, but when he had LeBron got everyone, he could just score. Now he's obviously being the face of the franchise, having to interview questions. He's having to get people involved. You're having Gordon Hayward come back off injury, trying to find his rhythm. They have 3 or 4 guys that need the ball in their hands, and he's a guy that needs it, so it wasn't a good match.
Okay, I don't want fancy suit. Get up, Jared Dudley here. Yeah. I want the guy that talks to everybody in the league.
Yes.
What do dudes say about Kyrie, the teammate?
As a teammate, they say he's a different cat. That's the word they use. That's
You have a smile on your face.
Because you know what?
Why is it tough? Why is it tough to get along with this guy?
Well, they say his mood swings. That was the big thing. I heard a story, obviously, when it happened during the playoff run. He didn't talk to his teammates for about 3-4 weeks. I heard that in Cleveland.
Last year.
I don't know if it was last year.
Well, last year he didn't show up. Remember, he didn't show up, and everybody told us it wasn't a big deal.
I actually think it was the year they won the championship, where he didn't talk to someone for like a week. For a month.
Yeah.
And so, that's just different. And then you see how he answers questions. I never had him for a teammate, but that's really the rep around the league. Talented player, a little moody, hard to get along with, but you know what? You'll take him on your team because of how talented he can be and what he can win.
The Celtics are, for lack of a better word, your team. Marcelo, do you want him on your team?
I did not enjoy watching this team this season. So I understand, though, and it seems like people have a hard time with this. When you are the general manager of an NBA team, even when you don't think it's a great basketball fit, you hate losing the asset for nothing. And you guys can make fun of that. The one I always point to is that Daryl Morey, who's a great general manager, did not want to lose Dwight Howard for nothing because he didn't want to lose the asset. So, up until very recently, Boston was still all in on wanting to re-sign him, moving some pieces, and loading up again this summer. I don't know.
Let me ask you one other thing on this, Seth. As a coach, Brad Stevens said afterwards yesterday, I didn't do a good job this year. I did a bad job last year. How much blame does the coach get when a team is just so obviously discombobulated and has bad chemistry all year long?
Yeah, he didn't do as good a job as he's done in the past because, you know what, the personality of this team didn't fit his personality or his vision of how he wants to play. When you have Kyrie, you've got to change everything you're doing. Kyrie Irving, he doesn't get lost in his teammates. He doesn't get lost in the game unless the ball hits his hands. Great Hembo stat rate per 100 possessions compared to last year and this year. Think about this, 10% fewer passes. 25% fewer screens off the basketball, 50% fewer handoffs. Why? Because the ball gets stuck. That's not Brad Stevens basketball. But when you have Kyrie, that's how you're going to have to play. The last thing is, we probably don't have the video anymore, but after the game, he walks off by Brad Stevens, 5 seconds left on the clock. He blows Brad Stevens off, everyone else off, and just shakes him. Watch it, right by Brad Stevens. There's 5 seconds left on the clock, and he's crossing over, shaking hands. That is Kyrie Irving. It's about him. The game before, he walked out. This time, he walked right by his head coach. That's dysfunction to me.
You know what? I don't have really a problem with that because obviously people dap up at the end of the game and obviously congratulate the team. What I think that you need for Boston fans, you have to have Kyrie because if you have Kyrie, you have to win championships with superstars. You can go on and get Anthony Davis now. Like, you lose Kyrie, you lose an asset, like my man just said here. Now, where do you go from?
And that's the other thing, too, just because you don't have the $23 million guy, you can't replace him.
Can you really win with him in that group?
Not with that group if you add another star to go with it. You go get Anthony Davis, they would have had tough, even if they get past them, to be able to beat Golden State, you have to add another superstar type player.
Anthony Davis is a guy, however, who's going to cost you a lot. He's not a free agent. He'd be in a trade, so they'd have to give up some of these young players. We'll see. That's the next piece of this.